Hey, welcome back everyone. Rob here from Ram Studio Comics. So in today's video, I thought it might be fun to test out some more poses, but then a more deliberate fashion. So sometimes I'll just start drawing poses. Maybe you guys follow along. I hope you do. But then in this case, I'm actually going to go in with an idea with each one. So it's more like thumbnail sketching. This is really the way I start any project, or most projects. Anything that turns out decent, generally this is where I start. So yeah, so I'm just going to pick some random characters, then try to develop sketches that, resemble those characters. So I'll start off with one of Spidey. And so let me imagine one where he's jumping away from camera, not away, but angled past us, like almost over our shoulder or something. And then legs stretched out. Spidey, I would say, is a little bit more free form. So he's just going to have like a little bit of contortion, a little bit of, limbs in front of one another, something like that. So let's try to, let's start with the torso first and really get the contortion thing going. So when in doubt, draw a bean-like shape. All right, so it's basically the pelvis down here, opening for the head. That's not the actual head. And then we got to pick, I think one arm being really stretched forward and one being back. So I'll put a line going across here like that for that. The orientation of the hips is like this. Center line down the body is like this. Okay, and then rib cage, something like that. Shoulder forward, arms stretched out. Remember, you can do this little lightning bolt thing. And then, yeah, this arm tucked way back. Now let's bring it way back. I mean, it's Spidey, right? It's Spidey, for Pete's sakes. Get it? Peter Parker. Never mind. Anyways, so yeah, arm forward. Okay, there's that. Chest is going to be tough because we got the rib cage really compressed. So he's not going to have like very much noticeable. I mean, you're going to see the chest going to cover the rib cage, but it's going to be not as tall. It's got to be squattier. And then you got the trapezius, which come up the back of the neck, and we got to attach his head, of course. Something like that, and find the center line to the face. Really, that should be looking where the other hand is, but nah, I don't know. We'll see. So there's that. Now let's attach the legs because he's looking pretty weird. Spider without legs, right? So let's put one leg over here, and let's bring the other one down this way and back out. Now that's kind of weird. Hold on. It looked better in my head, folks. Let's see. Let's just bring it way back. And then we'll put a foot like right here. Let's try that. Okay, and then this leg down, foot pointed. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. And then, alright, I always like to put his hand down shooting webs, and people keep checking me on that. Like, he can't shoot his web like that. Sorry. Big Spidey fan over here. I don't even know how he holds his hand when he shoots his webs. There we go. Something like that. Oh, you know what? No, somebody will call me out on that. It's got to be tilted even more, doesn't it? We'll just say like that. This is the rough sketch, which it's a thumbnail, so it should be rough. And then we could have the hand back like this. Bunch of webs. Something like that. Okay, so now let's refine it and see if we can make this mess into something discernible, less messy. Alright, and I got that arm looking weird back there, but that's fine. We'll just actually make it a little bigger, even though thumbnail sketches are typically small, right? But then I feel like, you guys might be looking at this on your phone, and that would be kind of hard. So I'll raise the size up. And then I'm just going to cut into this with some angles real quick, just to kind of flesh out the pose a little more. I typically would go through and refine it even again after that, but I don't know. This one we might just do these ones in this this style and then move on to the next one. So let's see, the chest, If we can get that, I feel like I'm having to stretch that a bit. Collarbone. And then here I'm going to overlap the anatomy going back so that hopefully you get the impression that it's receding into space. And I guess this is the weird part, like what goes, if the arm goes back like that, trapezius still has to fit in there, right? Because it fits in between the deltoid. So I think I got the arm in the wrong position for that to really work. So I might have to fix that. Okay, just quick version of the mask there. Okay, so rib cage, something like this. You get a little bit of that lat off to the side. And then the stomach muscles are going to have to roll forward like this. Something like that anyways. And then we're not going to see the hips. Get the legs in there. Spidey crotch. Yeah, knees there, outer leg. The foot. Make the foot larger so it doesn't fight for, you know, dominance with the lower leg. It's got to be, it's almost like a tangent. It's got to be either big enough where it covers all the connection points, or you don't foreshorten it because it'll just, it won't work. And the lower foot, I'll make this one smaller. Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of works. So I'll tell you what, we'll know as soon as I flip it. Every time I flip a pose, I'm like, either, oh cool, it worked, or egads, what have I done? I've created Frankenstein. Okay, something like that. Drawing fingers. Never fun. Fingers aren't fun. Okay, so I don't know if the hand would be twisted this way. But we're going to go for it. Let's try it. And I still managed to make it a bit like for his web shooter to go, and actually based upon the orientation of the muscle, yeah, that might work. You know what? It's a comic, folks. Just what do they call it? Suspension of disbelief? Suspension of belief. Something like that. Anyways, ankle. Okay, so now let's flip it and see if this is salvageable. Ugh. I don't know. That back arm's definitely weird. There's a couple weird things going on there, but I think that overall I would call this a decent enough pose. Like just maybe change that back arm. Orientation of the mask seems a bit weird. Try that. Maybe flatten the leg right here. Yeah, I don't know. That back arm, you know, in the back arm it's weird looking, but I almost feel like in a cartoonier style, which is definitely what this overly angular vibe kind of gives you. I feel like it almost works. It's funny how when you go with something that's more animated, you can, you know, break more rules, right? I think anyways. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna just leave it like that, because honestly the purpose of this anyways too is to get ideas down, you know, relatively quickly. So another thing we could do is figure out the perspective. Obviously we could have started there as well. We could do something like this, so it gives it some sense of motion. You know, maybe tilt the background so these buildings are on a bit of an angle. You know, just throw in some shapes. I'm not going to get all detailed with this background, but something so we got a concept working here. Water tower. There's always a water tower in the back of Spidey somewhere, right? Yeah, so there's our first one. You know, boom. And that's really, I don't know, that's really the way that I tend to do it, you know, and I try to draw the frame as well. So for instance, this would be like, maybe like an 11 by 17 lengthwise, you know, something like that. And I think it would work in that regard. I don't know, crotch is looking funny at me now. All of a sudden, weird crotch. Okay, so let's bring that over here. And also check it, you know, very small. And you know, this, it's funny, now that I shrink it down, I'm like, yeah, the torso is not working at all, is it? But again, this is more or less like, get the pieces in there, you know, get the concept down, and you can tweak it. And what's funny is what happens is you realize, like, by certain pieces of your own art, you just realize, like, oh, I can totally salvage that one, where everybody else might be looking and go, dude, start over. But I know I could work through that and get it going. So that's a keeper. All right, so I'm gonna try. I want to try a variety of characters. Hopefully relatively quick. I know this is probably longer than I expected already, but let's try like Wolverine. And what I'm thinking for him is I gotta try something I haven't done, because it's so hard to, you know, it's easy to keep doing the same shots. But there is a very distinct set of characteristics for these characters, and that's what I want to show. Let's do Wolverine swiping up and over. Let's do some foreshortening. Okay, so with this one, what I'm going to do is first start with the perspective, which is probably what I should have did with the other one, but sue me. So it'll be something like this, but what I'm thinking is he's coming up and swiping, but then I don't want him fully in this deep of a perspective. Let me just show you what I mean. So I'm picturing the arm right about here, swiping up, coming, you know, past us all, in a sense. Fists like this. Those are his blades. Head's, you know, somewhat covered by this, you know, the swiping motion. And then what I'm thinking is the twisting of the body. So you're gonna get the twist. The twist will be right here, and then as you go back, the rib cage. This all has to, you know, start to recede, right? And the best way to like push something back into space with these characters is really breaking apart the major pieces. So for instance, chest, rib cage, right? And you just stack these pieces, lats, and then you have to like compress the waist below all this. Hopefully you see what I mean. It's really just moving those pieces and then squishing them together and scaling them down in a way where, well, for instance, this is probably a good spot to explain it right here. Instead of bringing the rib cage down like this and straight to the stomach, you can try to picture that where it goes past the stomach, right? It should look like it goes past it a bit and interlocks around it, and that kind of helps convey that sense of foreshortening, I think. You know, it makes it look more believable, I guess. But all right, shoulder, upper arm, forearm. I'm just going to use basic shapes for now so I can get the rest of the pose in there. I want to make sure this whole pose works before I start refining the anatomy, because it might need to change it. But all right, so down here, I'm going to twist the body more. So notice the orientation of the chest is like right here, something like that. Okay, so here I'm going to bring this straight down and back more. I got to really scale this down, and then I don't know if it works if I bring this leg up. Let's try it. And this leg way back. Running out of canvas here. Does that work? That looks weird, doesn't it? Yeah. And you know what it is? I just feel like there's too much length right there. It's just not compressed enough for the foreshortening I started with. Okay, and that's really why I probably tend to work without the perspective guide at first. Let's try this again. Let's really compress this information. And the twist. Bring the pelvis over this way. I almost feel like the arm needs to go more straight up. It looks like a halfway, like he's not really committed to the swipe. So let's try that again. Is that better? And maybe make the head a little smaller, and then back here. Alright, let's try it. I'm going to bring it up more though. Okay, so now he's really twisting at the waist, okay? So gotta get that twisting action in there. And let's bring this leg over this way now. There we go. That looks more dynamic, right? It looks like he's really leaning and lunging into it. And plus, it allows us to hide this leg more, which means less drawing. They'll never know. No one will ever know. Oh, except I'm talking out loud, so they will know. Alright, anyways. Yeah, Wolvie's mask, right? Probably like, this dude's losing his mind. I'm unsubscribing right now. I will not listen to a madman draw comics. Okay, so bring this over. Yeah, I don't know. That arm is still weird. I like the legs better than the arm. Let's try it again. I think I like the head position better though. You know, I like that effect where he's like just barely looking over at his kill, his target. So maybe it's the proportions of the arm, because it did feel a bit weird. And we got to remember, it's going to come out a little bit, right? So it's not a, you know, it's not completely out towards us, but it's not completely straight up either. It's always those subtleties in the direction of the limbs that's one, hard to get, and B, worth trying to get. Like, all right, that's not A and B, but you know what I mean. Like, you gotta really try to get those right, because if not, you end up with characters, all their limbs are, you know, either straight to their side or straight out, and just, yeah, it's all about subtleties, nuances, as they say. So getting this to point back, so it's elbow here and then coming back away from us. And then remember to get that foreshortening right. You just put that that hand behind the wrist a little bit. So that usually will give you that sense of foreshortening. There we go, little metal things, which I don't even know what those are. I don't know why he'd need those, but they're there. Okay. And then what? You gotta go snick. What's that word? It's S-N-I-K-T. Like, how do you even say that? I don't even know if that even pronounces properly. Okay, anyways, right there. Wolverine, and where's the other arm? God, I almost forgot about the other arm. I was so obsessed with that arm, I forgot he has another one. Maybe like down like this. Maybe. And we could do the old shadow thingy, push it back further. I don't know. Yeah, so let's call that good. I mean, we don't want these to be too ridiculous long. And I think that still kind of says, hey, I'm Wolverine, and I'm here to party. That's what it says to me. And then, oh, he's got those shoulder things. Well, depending on the suit, I guess. Something like that. Yeah, we'll just do without them, because they're not on every suit. And then what we can say here is that, you know, he's jumping through the air. Here's the ground plane. Something like this. Alleyway or something. And let's say he's attacking a ninja, right? Doesn't he do that a lot? Oh no, I'm thinking of just saw that one by David Finch, and he showed him fighting ninjas with the arrows in his back. Yeah, way better Wolvie than this, apparently, obviously, but I still got to try, folks. I still got to put some ninjas in here. This is going to be the harder part of the pose. Like, all right, he's coming up, he's swiping. Let me get rid of this floating head. He's swiping up like this. All right, maybe it's coming from way back here. Okay, so where's that leave him? Let's just say that he's attacking someone right here. Oh wait, I can't see a ninja's mouth, can you? Depends on the ninja suit, but I don't think, yeah, it's more like this. My bad, I haven't drawn ninjas in quite some time. Like that. And have like a hand coming up here. Man, I get messy when I'm trying to work through an idea. Bring this arm back here and up this way. Maybe give him some katanas on the back or something. Bring his face over this way because it's like leaning too far back, right? So let me clean that up real quick because that looks craziness, like craziness. Okay. And to tell you the truth, I really don't even know what the ninja suits look like. Need to pull some good old reference on that one. Hilt of the blades. I think I got him looking more like a mummy. Hey, that could be a storyline. Wolverine versus the mummy. The ninja mummy. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, anyways, you get the idea. Now I just keep refining this until it looks, I draw this about 5 times so it actually looks like a hand. Get the right amount of segments on the fingers. If I don't get it right, I look at some hand poses. Yeah. Alright, and then maybe, you know what, actually this would look cooler if this was all like a dojo or something. Which I can't remember how that looks either, but I'll just say there's lots of slats and like decorative tops. And then I would pull reference. So at this point I'm really just trying to get the idea in place. Since I don't know what that stuff looks like by heart, I would just throw in some information that would make me remember my thought process, and then go pull reference and finish drawing. Here's some steps. again, figure out the framing. Okay, that took entirely way too long. But hey, this is how we learn, folks. This is how we see what we can see. Yeah, I actually like it better smaller. And you guys are welcome to critique this, by the way. Don't feel bad. You know, jump in there, have a ball, just rip them apart. It's the only way it'll get better. The only way it'll get better is if you take the same advice. Okay, so now let's do one more and call it good, because these are taking a little bit, but hopefully they're fun and informative for you. That's the goal, anyways. The next one, let's try. Yeah, probably should have wrote these down first, huh? Let's try. Might as well keep it all Marvel, since it's. Let's just do a Hulk. Hulk will be. Well, I don't want to say Hulk will be easy, because then I'll go to do it and start fumbling. Let's do a Hulk. Let's start with the frame first this time. I've kept everything pretty horizontal, so let's just go with that. Might as well keep it. You know, like if you turn that 11 by 17 page sideways, that's what you get. And let me go ahead and get rid of these for a minute. Make this a little larger. So, okay, with this one, you know, this one I'm actually going to just try something different where we're looking down on him. He's looking up. You know, he's in the middle of a bunch of chaos. Makes me think of some Dale Keown stuff because he does a lot of those. But I don't want to do... We've already done, you know, Wolverine swiping at somebody, Spidey swinging through the air with not enough midsection. But, you know, this one I think... Let's just try that. Let's have him just standing there in utter destruction. So, utter destruction first. Okay, so boom, just a bunch of scribbles. He's kind of in the middle of it. You know, boards, pipes, busted up brick. You know, brick's really easy. You just do the little scribbles and then keep refining it, right? But you can just go crazy with this stuff. For the most part, it doesn't have to look like anything, but every now and then if you throw something in there that you do recognize, like you could throw like a kitchen sink right here. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was somebody's house. You know, it's like it doesn't have to be too well thought out. Like it could just be something that there's a couple things in there that make total sense, and then the rest is just utter destruction and pieces of whatever. Okay, wires, occasionally a wire sticking out with some little electricity, right? So that works. And don't make it this even. So I did a big oval. That was a mistake. I'm just kind of scribbling around. I need to break that up. Okay, so there's our. That doesn't look like anything, does it? All right, you know what I'm talking about though, because I narrated it. So let's put the Hulk in there, and let's have let's get a sense of perspective again. Again, I probably started the wrong way, but just some kind of idea of perspective. This is the ground plane. You know, so if you were to draw up and out, right? That's how the depth would be in the scene. That's where the, you know, roughly where the character will go. So let's do this. Let's have him like, picture him like he's just done all this destruction. He's looking up and, you know, fist is still clenched and, you know, he's still huffing and puffing or something, but, you know, just Hulk, right? He's just leaned over, looking up at the helicopter, whatever it is, it's slightly above, maybe not a helicopter, just something slightly above him. Okay, so he's leaned over, he's looking back and up just a little bit, something like that. You know, he's one of those characters where you could probably almost always draw the traps in the chest, you know, in both shots, where typically you really want to be careful of that because it looks a bit unbelievable that you're going to see, you know, in clear view anyways, that you're going to see a lot of somebody's traps and any significant amount of their chest, you know. But I think in this pose it might work. And let's have, like, you know, his one arm's kind of tucked back. See a little bit of the bicep, maybe shade it back. And then, you know, he's got his other hand clenched and almost like ready to, you know, punch the next thing, right? Big hands because he's Hulk. And then on this arm, just maybe open hand pose so that it's easy to overdo the fist thing, right? So I gotta get a open hand pose over here. And let's see. compress all that information from the torso and the ribs and the stomach muscle. Try to get a little bit of twist going on here. If not, he's going to look even more boring. So we want to try to mix that up and give him a little bit of twist. Bring that leg right out. Other leg back. Big shadow all through here. And then bring that foot down and meet it to the ground plane. And we'll bring this foot back over here. Connect him to the ground plane with the shadow. Messy hair. Angry face. Alright, proportions are weird. He almost looks like a taller, lankier version of Hulk, but it's a starting point. So now what I'll do, let me just, instead of trying to soft erase this, I'm just going to push this back, add a layer over top, Command E. Well, I'm working digitally, so that's my bad. That's what I would do digitally. So let me sculpt in the anatomy one more time. We'll go angular at first here. I feel like I need to compress more of the anatomy. Sorry, I don't know a better way to explain it, but it just feels like everything's too elongated for his proportions, for his forms. So let me try to fix that. I don't mind the little head because it's Hulk, and if you give him that little head, it makes the body look massive. But I think his head needs to be a little more squared off. Okay. I don't want to get caught up into details. I feel myself doing that a little bit, so I gotta jump back a little bit here. It's tough though. Sometimes I feel like I need some of the details to know that the piece is going right. Like, I don't know. It's all like problem solving, I guess. But other times I can just, feel good about the piece. I guess it boils down to, is it something I've drawn before? At least in a similar set of ways. If it's something similar to what I've done umpteen times, then yeah, it's like I don't really need much information on the page to figure that out. But this one, I feel like I kind of need to see a little bit more of it. But I think it'll be good. It's pretty simple. Okay, and then this part of the arm goes like this. Yeah, I got some anatomy issues there, but should be able to fix that. Just got to move things around, I think. Okay, and then I think based on the fact he's hunched over like this, I think you just see a little bit of the first or second set of stomach muscles, and then shadow, maybe negatively draw everything else, like fill it in and erase back some details. I mean, that's one of the beauties of shadows, I guess, and certain poses where you shadow the forms more. But yeah, I feel like all this could just be shaded in maybe, and kind of add to the effect. And then here we want to really overlap the forms. I feel like this would be a good opportunity to throw in some smoke. right? Kind of make them look a little more mysterious, emerging from the smoke and the rubble and the debris. Okay. And obviously the hand pose needs to be a little more interesting than this, but I'm just doing a shorthand version. I know that wasn't funny. That's all I got, folks. Okay, like that. Again, the busted up brick. You know, just kind of sporadically scribble back and forth. Cracks and really just keep overlapping shapes, and then every now and then like have a board or something sticking out of it, you know. And then it's funny because it reads like you know, it reads like debris, because it's like some of it's just hard to discern what it is, and then all of a sudden there's a pipe sticking out, and the pipe, it makes total sense, so then the rest of it makes sense. That's the best I can put it. Like I don't do it as much, but I used to always do like the bent pipe and like water squirting out. I always thought that was like, look, it's a special effect. Water still spraying out of the pipe. I don't know. That does not look like water. Maybe water drizzling down. How about that? Just drizzling. Maybe no water. Maybe just a bent pipe. Okay, and then like I said, the wire thing, that's always fun. Sparks flying off it. Guess you could have smoke coming off that as well. Oh, and another one, you can't do without this. You do the wall with the wire coming out, right? Or coming from behind it or whatever. And then the bent steel. What are those called? I can't remember what those are called. They look like candy canes. But then it looks like you're in a, you know, maybe like a commercial build, right? Something more, you know, it wouldn't be like a regular house. Then you feel better about the story. You're like, oh, I didn't like crash through grandma's house. It's like some commercial government building that deserved it or something. Not trying to get political here, folks. Okay, so yeah, more debris, more scribble. This is taking way too long, sorry. But hey, at least now you see what I go through when I'm trying to work through concepts. And now you guys can share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what pains you when you go through these concepts. What process do you take? Do your thumbnails even take you this long, or are they really fast and loose? And what are the benefits? Please share. And forgive me, I know I haven't been able to respond to as many comments as I'd like lately. I'm going to try to get back on that. It's just tough. I got a lot of irons in the fire right now, and that's why it's been a little bit tricky to even get content out like I'd like, but it's coming, folks. I'm hard at work. I think like maybe a tire over there off in the distance. Yeah, and then I would break up the shape. Like I originally said, it looked like too much like an oval, but I think the smoke helps to do that as well. Gives some movement in the scene, but I would definitely break up the shape. I would throw random like little pieces of rock with shadow on them. You know, just all these little things to make the scene look more interesting and affected. You could even have like areas where the ground just kind of looks scorched, and there's like just a little bit of smoke rolling off that area. So all sorts of neat things you can do to, you know, make it look more destroyed and affected by whatever happened. Don't forget his fingernails. Yeah, and that's really it. Like I guess that's enough. And this is how I can tell, you know, if I'm gonna do a let me get them all on here now. If I'm going to carry something further, like you know, I just work through a couple of these. Now Now this is the real power of this, and I talk about this in a lot of like my online course stuff and all that, Skillshare classes, whatever. But what I'll do is I'll say, you know, hey, this is where you change your ideas. So maybe you look at this and or show it to a client or whatever. You know, we talked about commissions just recently, and so maybe you do this, and then they like, oh, I like it, but you know, if you could put another ninja like sitting on the rooftop, you know, back on the left. And then it becomes pretty easy to do that because it's your rough sketch, you know, so you don't, or maybe that's Spidey. It's Spidey, he's going to intervene. No, but, you know, you want to do that here. Oh, that's a bad little ninja dude. And maybe another one jumping, right? That'd be kind of fun. This is where you do all that stuff. Get it right in there. Who cares if it's a bad sketch? You can, a stick figure can tell a lot of story, folks. Look at that. That stick figure is a ninja. And that's it. It will save you a tremendous amount of time, and it's I don't know, it's fun. It gets the creative gears going. Like for me, if I got a blueprint like the one of Hulk down here, or any of these, but I think I like the last one the best, which makes sense. It was kind of warming up and getting again the gears going. To me, I can draw that a lot easier now because I got that reference point. And again, if I want to change something, like that arm needs to be tucked back more, you know, whatever, I can change that on the fly, but I still have this to ground me and say I got a concept. Nothing more frustrating than you got this cool image in your head, but you spend so much time trying to put it down, it becomes something very different, and then all of a sudden you lose energy for it. This happens with me anyways. I'm just talking out loud, but yeah, so I'll have this good image in my head from that first kind of snapshot, but then I go to draw it and I start maneuvering it and changing it and changing it. It's because I didn't have that initial concept in place to, again, keep me grounded and keep me focused. So at any rate, I'll conclude here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, as well as what else you'd like to see in the future. I'll make sure to get that on the schedule. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.